Switzerland is famous for chocolate, cheese, and stunning mountains. But there's something else the Swiss are known for that most people overlook. They're some of the smartest spenders in the entire world. While other countries chase flashy lifestyles and rack up debt, the Swiss quietly build wealth by living differently. Today, I want to break down the habits that make them masters of money management, and how you can apply the same tricks in your own life. When you look at how Swiss people approach money, one of the biggest things that stands out is how little they rely on debt. In a lot of countries, especially in the US or parts of Europe, credit cards, car loans, and personal loans are completely normal. People swipe first and think later, paying off balances with interest for years. But in Switzerland, that mindset just doesn't fly. Debt is something most Swiss people avoid like the plague, and that's one of the reasons they're able to stay financially stable. Let's start with credit cards. In the US, it's common to have 3, 4, even 5 different credit cards, and for many, carrying a balance is normal. But in Switzerland, credit card usage is much lower. Most people stick to debit cards, bank transfers, or direct payments. They only use credit cards when absolutely necessary, like for travel or specific purchases, and even then, they pay off the balance quickly. It's not because credit cards don't exist there, but because culturally, the idea of owing money is uncomfortable. Mortgages work differently too. In some countries, it's normal to buy the biggest house you can get approved for, even if it means stretching your budget to the limit. In Switzerland, people tend to buy more conservatively. Many choose smaller, more manageable properties and prioritize paying them off early. In fact, it's common for Swiss homeowners to make extra payments on their mortgage just to shrink the debt faster. That way, they cut down on interest and enjoy peace of mind knowing they truly own their home. And when it comes to lifestyle spending, things like cars, vacations, or gadgets, the Swiss are cautious. Instead of financing a brand new luxury car, many will buy something practical and reliable, even if they could technically afford more. The thinking is simple. Why tie yourself to monthly payments when you can save up and buy something outright? This approach to debt isn't just about money, it's about culture. In Switzerland, living within your means is respected. Overspending or showing off with borrowed money isn't admired the way it might be elsewhere. People value financial independence and security over status symbols. That's why you rarely see Swiss families drowning in consumer debt. The lesson here is powerful. If you want to spend smarter, think like the Swiss. Avoid debt wherever possible, pay off what you owe quickly, and don't buy things just because you can finance them. Instead, save first and spend later. It may not feel glamorous, but over time, this mindset builds stability and wealth that no flashy car payment ever could. Another fascinating thing about the Swiss is their mindset around purchases. In a world where fast fashion and disposable goods dominate, the Swiss stick to a very different rule: buy less, but buy better. It's a habit that not only saves money in the long run, but also builds a lifestyle that's cleaner, simpler, and more satisfying. Take clothing, for example. In many countries, it's normal to shop constantly for cheap outfits, grabbing whatever's on sale, wearing it a few times, and then tossing it when it wears out or goes out of style. But in Switzerland, people often spend more upfront on fewer, high-quality pieces. Instead of 5 cheap jackets that fall apart in a year, they'll invest in one well-made coat that lasts 10 years. At first, it looks expensive, but when you divide the cost over time, it's actually cheaper. This mindset goes beyond clothing. Think about appliances, furniture, or even tools. A Swiss household might pay more for a sturdy dining table or a high-end coffee machine, but those items could last decades. Compare that to buying cheap replacements every couple of years, and the long-term savings are obvious. It's not just about money either. It reduces waste, clutter, and the hassle of constantly shopping for replacements. Food is another area where quality over quantity shines. Switzerland has high food prices compared to many countries, but the Swiss aren't known for wasting money at restaurants every night. Instead, they often cook at home, using fresh, high-quality ingredients. Yes, groceries might cost more upfront, but the meals are healthier and people waste less food. Plus, cooking at home means they're not paying restaurant markups all the time. What I love most about this habit is how it changes your relationship with money. Instead of chasing endless stuff, you learn to value durability and long-term satisfaction. That watch you wear every day, that coat that keeps you warm year after year. They become part of your life, not just random purchases. It's a slower, more intentional way to spend, and it stops you from falling into the trap of impulse buying. Culturally, this ties back to Swiss values of craftsmanship and precision. It's the same mindset that makes Swiss watches and Swiss-made products famous worldwide. They don't just want things that look good today. They want things that work well for years. So what's the takeaway? If you want to spend smarter like the Swiss, start shifting your mindset. Don't ask, what's the cheapest option right now? Instead ask, what will give me the best value over time? That small change can transform your finances. You'll waste less, spend less, and enjoy a lifestyle that feels richer, not because you have more things, but because you have the right things. Spend a day in Switzerland, and you'll notice something that feels different. People live well, but they don't live wastefully. Their frugality shows up in dozens of small daily habits, the kind of things that don't look extreme on the surface, but compound into big savings over a lifetime. Transportation is one of the clearest examples. In many countries, owning a car is seen as a necessity, and often, it's the most expensive item in a household budget, after rent or a mortgage. But in Switzerland, cars aren't nearly as common in cities. Public transport is reliable, fast, and so well integrated that plenty of families skip car ownership altogether. Imagine the savings. No loan payments, no gas, no repairs, no insurance. For the Swiss, it's not just cheaper, it's more convenient. The same goes for food. Dining out is pricey, so cooking at home is the default. But unlike the cheap meals mindset elsewhere, the Swiss approach food with quality in mind. They buy good ingredients, plan meals carefully, and waste as little as possible. Leftovers don't get tossed. They're transformed into the next day's lunch. A family cooking at home 5 nights a week will spend a fraction of what others do eating out, and the health benefits come as a bonus. Entertainment habits also lean frugal. Instead of expensive nights out or constant shopping, people spend their free time in simple, low-cost ways, hiking in the Alps, enjoying lakeside picnics, or gathering with friends at home. These aren't sacrifices, they're cultural norms. Fun doesn't have to come with a giant price tag. Even small choices show this frugal mindset. Electricity is used carefully. Clothes are washed less often, but with care to extend their life. Repairs are prioritized over replacements. These little details might seem minor, but they reflect a cultural attitude of respect for money and resources. The beauty of Swiss frugality is that it never feels forced. People aren't living with a scarcity mindset. They simply make daily choices that align with efficiency, quality, and balance. And when you do that consistently, overspending doesn't stand a chance. In many parts of the world, money is a stage. People want you to see their new car, their designer clothes, or their oversized home. But in Switzerland, wealth works differently. Privacy is a core value, and that changes how people spend. Take housing, for example. In American suburbs, the biggest house often signals success. In Switzerland, it's common for millionaires to live in modest homes that blend in with their neighbors. They don't see the point of buying square footage they don't use. It's not about deprivation, it's about practicality. Cars tell a similar story. Flashy sports cars do exist, but they're the exception, not the rule. Even high earners often drive practical vehicles, or they skip cars altogether in favor of trains. Why pour money into a luxury symbol when reliable transport is all you need? This cultural emphasis on privacy means there's far less pressure to keep up. If your neighbors aren't flaunting their income, you don't feel compelled to match them. That's powerful because a lot of overspending in other countries comes from status competition. In Switzerland, the game doesn't even exist. It also shapes the way people talk about money. Salary conversations are rare, and bragging about wealth is considered distasteful. Financial details stay private, and this mindset encourages people to measure success on their own terms rather than by comparing with others. Even the financial system reflects this value. Swiss banking became famous worldwide, not only for stability but for discretion. Confidentiality and security are baked into the culture, reinforcing the idea that money should stay personal, not performative. What's fascinating is how this privacy leads to smarter spending. When money isn't used to signal status, it can be used more intentionally, saved, invested, or spent on things that genuinely add value. The result? Generational wealth built quietly, without unnecessary financial risks or debt. At its core, Swiss privacy around wealth isn't about being secretive for the sake of it. It's about freedom. By not tying your identity to possessions, you give yourself space to live comfortably without overspending. And that's a lesson most of the world could benefit from. When people think of Switzerland, the first thing that comes to mind is precision. Swiss watches are famous around the world for being reliable, detailed, and consistent. What's interesting is that this same mindset carries over into the way Swiss people handle money. Their approach to budgeting is as disciplined as the gears of a finely tuned watch. Budgeting in Switzerland isn't something only done when money gets tight. It's part of everyday life. From a young age, people are taught to be careful with their spending and to always know where their money is going. This discipline creates a financial culture where saving and planning are normal, not special. A big part of Swiss budgeting comes down to priorities. The average person carefully separates essentials from luxuries. Essentials like rent, health insurance, groceries, and transportation are taken care of first. Once those are covered, only then do they think about extras. This habit prevents overspending because fun money is always what's left over, never what comes first. Another detail that stands out is how often the Swiss pay themselves before they spend. Many households set aside a fixed percentage of their income into savings or investments the moment they get paid. That money is treated as untouchable, almost like another bill that has to be paid every month. What's left is what they live on. This simple system guarantees long-term savings without requiring constant willpower. Technology also plays a role. Online banking and budgeting apps are widely used, and many Swiss track their expenses closely. But it's not just about numbers, it's about mindset. Instead of waiting for a financial problem to appear, they use their budgets to stay 2 steps ahead. If expenses go up in one category, they cut back in another. That balance keeps things steady no matter what life throws at them. What makes Swiss budgeting so effective is its consistency. They don't go through phases of being super strict and then splurging wildly. Instead, they maintain a steady rhythm, just like the ticking of a watch. Over time, that rhythm builds incredible financial security. This consistency also ties back to trust in systems. Swiss society values punctuality, order, and responsibility, and money is no different. Paying bills on time, setting aside savings, and tracking expenses aren't chores. They're habits that reflect cultural values. So, what's the lesson for the rest of us? If you want financial stability, don't treat budgeting as a one-time fix or a temporary challenge. Treat it as a lifestyle. Like a Swiss watch, your money management should be steady, precise, and reliable. Plan for essentials first, pay yourself before you spend, and keep your financial rhythm consistent. At the end of the day, budgeting isn't about restriction, it's about freedom. And the Swiss proved that with discipline and precision, anyone can create a financial life that runs smoothly, tick by tick, just like the finest watch. The Swiss don't just have mountains, chocolate, and watches figured out. They've mastered money in ways the rest of us can learn from. By living with less debt, choosing quality over quantity, building frugal daily habits, keeping wealth private, and budgeting with precision, they've created a culture where overspending simply doesn't fit in. And that's the real secret. It's not about earning millions. It's about managing what you already have with discipline and purpose. If you take even one of these Swiss habits and make it part of your own life, you'll start to see the difference over time. So what do you think? Which of these habits would you try first? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more money lessons from around the world.